Hey guys, I know I've been making a lot of videos on Stellar Blade recently, but I found this article and oh boy, I wanted to talk about this one. Now, I'm not going to bore you with showing the entire article on screen. I'm probably just going to go over a couple bits and pieces here. So I'm just going to show you my boss fight with Scarlet in the background instead. So anyway, here's how the headline starts off. Are you ready? Gooner Game of the Year. Stellar Blades mods are 41% smut, ensuring gamers will never see the light of heaven. All right, there's already so much I can unpack just from that headline, but I'm going to go through a couple of key other points here real quick, and then we'll talk about it. So it does go on to say that Stellar Blade has finally hit PC 2 days ago, giving everyone a chance to do whatever it is the game is actually about. Unfortunately, no one knows what that is because the entirety of discourse surrounding is about the main character's butt.
Am I so out of touch? No.
Okay, first of all, there's a lot more to the game than just that, okay? Eve has become an iconic character. This happens to every iconic character. I don't know why this is so mind-boggling to this game journalist, but anyway, I'm going to go on. Well, now that the butt is on PC and now you know what that means, mods. Well, of course it does. I don't know why is this a surprise? And if I were to make a book right now on how many of those mods somehow made Stellar Blade even more not safe for work than it is out of the box, I suspect I wouldn't make very much money, not least because you're probably still reading the headline, whatever the heck that means. I'm not even going to comment on that. I do not like how this writer, journalist, quote unquote, words this.
Can't you stop your lips from flapping for 2 little minutes?
By intense scientific calculations, counting fully 96 of the 234 mods, 41% that currently exist for Stellar Blade are marked as adult. How did you not know this was going to happen? This is what boggles my mind real quick. I just have to ask this question. When did we forget we were Homo sapiens? When did we forget we were human? You know, a lot of us are wired this way, right? It is what it is. You know, it's like I don't really get why people have to shame something that's a part of what we are to begin with. But anyway, I can go on a whole nother rant about that. I'm going to kind of continue on here. How do you feel about Eve's feet hands? Good? Would you discuss that with your parents over Christmas dinner? Whatever, I'm not going to comment on that either. The majority are, well, what you'd expect. Various ways to make Eve and other women in the game various levels of nude, with the most popular level being fully. Again, why are you surprised? There is also a lot of main menu replacers that just put hardcore smut of one variety or another right there on the home screen if that's your bag. I mean, okay, I can kind of see that. That's a little out there. That's not something I would do. But you know what? To each his own. Live and let live, right? Now, look, I have no issue with what adults do in the privacy of their own home. Obviously, you do because you're writing this article. Let's just be real right now. If you really didn't care and you really didn't want to write a hit piece about this game, this article, I wouldn't even be reading this article right now. If you want to turn your copy of the game into an overstimulating carnival of omnipresent erotic delights, please do so with my blessing. You're lying. You wrote this article, you're bashing on it, you're lying. But I am a tad mystified. I don't know why you're mystified, but okay, why? Let's continue on. I do wonder what kind of lifestyle it is that leads a person to turn a video game main menu into a hardcore pornography. At some point, are you so inured to sexuality that you have to cram it into every available crevice to feel anything? Would you not find more fulfillment if the erotic were less ambiguous, more rare, more precious? At least we'll always have Thomas the Tank Engine mods, which those are kind of funny, I might add. Apparently not, because the top 10 mods for Stellar Blade are all adults only, and they've been downloaded about 250,000 times collectively at the time of writing. Goon on Gooners, let no one dim your sparkle. So while I want to believe that this person's writing this article to say, you know what, you do you, the fact that the article even exists in the first place tells me that they're mad because this game is doing very well. And a lot of the other games, like Dragon Age the Veilguard and games like Assassin's Creed Shadows and all those kind of games, didn't do as well. And there's a lot of Sony ports, too, that didn't do as well as this game is doing. You have to look at the landscape of the games industry just even in the last 10 years. And people want the entertainment and the escapism from reality. And yes, some people like attractive things to look at. And yes, some people want this kind of not safe for work stuff in their game. There's a reason that those kind of games do well on Steam. Now, does it go a little out there? Yeah, for me personally, like I'm okay just looking at attractive females in my video games. Beyond that, it doesn't I don't need the rest of this. I really don't. Sometimes it's funny to look at and watch and make fun of, or especially when it comes to the really really out there stuff. But when it comes to like it's just kind of just a normal attractive looking female, why is that such a bother? I it still boggles my mind that these game journalists believe that they can somehow bash on this game and that's going to help it not do as well. Shift Up gave us a game we wanted. We saw that back in, 2024 when the game was being promoted heavily and then it came out and everyone clamored for a PC release. And we already knew the mods were going to do this. I come from a time where back in the old days with Tomb Raider, there were already nude mods for that game even back then. Now, I understand that not everyone's going to like these kind of mods, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But for some people, it is their thing. Look, there's a lot of lonely guys out there, all right? And they're getting it where they can. But I don't understand why we need to shame people for being human, because at the end of the day, that's what we are. And I really don't know what else I can say about this other than this is just another one of those articles where the writer just sounds very whiny, and that's all I ever see coming out of the video game journalist industry anymore. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on all this. And as always, if you enjoyed this content, please leave a like. And if you're new here and you enjoyed this, I would love a subscription if you could. Otherwise, you have a good one and peace out.